Welcome to The Buzz, where we bring you leaders in dental education discussing hot topic courses and industry trends. I'm your host, Vanessa Emerson, founder of Dental Speakers Bureau, and today I'm interviewing Leslie Canham. Thanks for being here, Leslie.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Now, Leslie speaks and consults in the areas of infection control, OSHA, and HIPAA. And she helps dental teams navigate the sea of state and federal regulations by providing up-to-date and accurate information. Her course, HIPAA, around HIPAA, called What's New and What Do I Have to Do, is the topic of our interview today. So, Leslie, could you give us a little bit more information about this course? And I know it's one of your most requested topics. Why do you think that is?
Well, people seem to be very confused about HIPAA, and it certainly is. It's a complex set of regulations to follow, and there's been some changes over the last handful of years. So many of the participants in my seminars aren't aware of the changes, and therefore their practices are not compliant with the current requirements. So in my course, I provide checklists and 10 steps that provide a path and a plan to become HIPAA compliant. When they hear of the things that they're doing correctly, of course, they can pat themselves on the back, but more often than not, they're hearing several items that are on the checklist that they're not in compliance with. So when they leave the class, instead of being more confused than when they walk in the door, they tell me that they're hopeful that they have steps that they can take and an action plan that they can immediately implement.
Fabulous. So what I'm hearing you say confirms what I suspected, in that this is a topic that is, of course, essential for every dental team, but also it feels like it can be somewhat overwhelming and so much that we don't know what we don't know. So I heard you say you participants leave with a checklist, but can you tell us a little bit more about how do you take such a vast topic and break it down into a couple of hours and help them be able to know what they need to do as they leave? Could you give us more around that process?
Well, what I like to do is give people the information that shows why it's important and make it important in their own setting. For example, many dental practices are hooked up to the internet, but they don't realize that just one wrong click can lead to unleashing ransomware or viruses that could debilitate a dental practice, wipe out data, and breach a patient's protected information. Now, as you know, you hear all the time on the news programs about various data breaches, and even if it's something that we hear at Target, they had a breach, Anthem Insurance had a breach, hospitals and other healthcare facilities. And it seems that dental practices are the low-hanging fruit for hackers to attack. And we just don't know what we don't know. You said that perfectly. So I try to bring information to my attendees on what to look for and how to be more aware so they can prevent these kinds of breaches from occurring in their setting.
Well, that's frightening. This idea of what we don't know that could lead to something like ransomware. And that's one really great example of a reason why this should be important for dental teams to want to be sure they're on top of this, especially for practice owners. So this feels like one of multiple topics that you teach that would be something that is essential for dental teams. How do you normally pair this topic? If a planner wanted to bring you in for more than one course, how would you normally marry that with another topic? What would you offer?
Well, frequently meeting planners will ask me to speak on OSHA for part of the day and HIPAA for the other part of the day. And usually there are two separate courses, and I'm always surprised. Well, I guess maybe not so much surprised, but I get to see the same faces that I saw in my morning session and my afternoon session. And you'd think that they would have had enough of me and want to move on to another speaker. But it seems that these topics are in demand and are appreciated by the audience members.
I think that probably also speaks to how well they appreciated their morning session as well, Leslie. So I'll tell you, I think there's probably some of that, especially having seen the number of past presentations you've given. I think heard the accolades about the experience of your courses. I think that speaks volumes about you as a trainer, because the topics this is not a typical inspiring or empowering, like a leadership or communications or motivational self-improvement type of a course. These are topics that you teach that are around regulations and are things that people are required to attend. And I know that in some of your other courses, you really have some great hands-on workshop type activities. Is there something around HIPAA? I'm throwing you a curve. Is there something around HIPAA that is that you make it a little lighter and more fun, a little more interactive, perhaps?
Well, when I have the time, and I've been able to get the basic content out, we do have some games that we play, and I provide my audience members with resources on how they can access these internet games so that they can train their team members and perhaps bring that information into their own practice if there are other coworkers that are not present in my class. So yes, there's a lot of ways to make HIPAA fun. While it seems like it can be kind of a dull subject, I try to keep it on the lighter sides. And another thing I do is I keep my presentation style light and enjoyable and humorous. And my presentation slides are easy to look at. They're not at all hard on the eyes. It's not just bullet point after bullet point. So I believe my audience members appreciate that. They can sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation while they're learning.
I agree. I would have to say that I've seen some of the videos that you posted previously around from some of your presentations, and I think that it shows that it can be fun. And I don't even know if dull for me is the word as much as like overwhelming. I think if I think of OSHA and HIPAA, because I'm not an expert, it feels like, ooh, it feels like if I had to go and do my own corporate taxes, it feels like that heavy to me. So I love that there are people like you out there who can really get it into bite-sized chunks for the dental team so that they can be able to absorb it and get make sure they're compliant and really get on the page they need to be on. So thank you for bringing your topics to dentistry, and thank you for being here today and sharing with us.
My pleasure, Vanessa.
For the event planner who would like to find out more about bringing Leslie to speak for their organization, please visit dentalspeakersbureau.com. We'd be happy to connect you, and thanks again for tuning in.